Charles Handy üzenetei a családbarát vállalatoknak és mindenkinek.
A most megjelent könyvének az a címe, hogy a második görbe. Mit jelent ez a kifejezés?
Well, let's talk about the first curve first. The first curve is like this. It's an S on the side, so it's called a sigmoid curve. S for sigmoid. And I think it's the line of life, of everything that's alive, whether it's human beings, or it's organizations, or it's even political parties or governments. They start by going down because you have to put more in as an investment, or if it's a person, by education. So you put more in than you get out, so it goes down, and then gradually it goes up as you get more successful. And that goes on until you eventually, everything reaches the top of the curve, and then it starts to go down. And that's the story of life, I'm afraid. As you get older, you pass the peak and you gradually go down. It's the same with a product in an organization. It starts off well, but then other people come in, competitors come in, and the product sales go down eventually. And that's a very sad story. But I think you don't have to be like that, because I think what you can do is you can start a second curve, like the first one, so it also goes down at the beginning while you invest or re-educate your people or yourself, but then it goes up, and so it goes on. I'm on my fifth curve now in life, and some organizations, if they want to last 100 years, as some do, they have to keep developing a second curve, reinventing themselves in a way. So that's all obvious, of course, except there's a snag, there's a problem. Because you have to start the second curve before you get to the top of the first curve. Why? Well, because in the second curve you also have to cover the new investment, the new training, the new people, the new products, and that takes time. So we would be well advised to keep the first curve going as long as you can, while you're at the same time starting the second curve. So you're running for a time in the middle there. You're running two curves at once. One is the old curve and the other is the new curve. Again, that sounds simple, but the problem is that means that you have to start the second curve before you reach the top of the first curve. But at that point, you don't actually think that you need to change, because everything is going so well. So you say, no, I know how to work this. I would just go on the same way. And then, if you're not careful, you leave it too late and you start going down the slope. And it's very, very difficult to start a second curve when you're past the top of the first curve. And most organizations don't do it. And I tell a little story, if I may, of driving in Ireland, in the hills behind Dublin, where I was born. And I wasn't sure of the way, so when I saw a man beside the road with his dog, I stopped to say, am I on the right road to Avoca, where I was going? And he said, indeed you are, he said. You just go up this long hill, and when you get to the top, you look down in the little valley below, and you'll see a stream with a bridge over it, and you'd see Davy's Bar. You can't miss it, he said. It's painted bright red. Have you got that? Yes, I said. I go up the hill and I see Davy's Bar and the bridge, and that's it. No, he said. 1 kilometer before you get there, you turn right up the hill, and that's your road. So I thought that makes sense. So I drove off, and then I thought, oh, he said before you get there. Oh, well, I suppose I just have to keep my eyes open. So I get up to the top of the hill and I look down and I see Davy's Bar. And I think, okay, now I keep looking to the right. And I drive on down, looking to the right for this new road. No new road. And then I realized that I must have passed it before. So I drive back, and there it was before I reached the top of the hill. This silly man by the road had not told me that the road starts before I can see Davy's Bar. So I can't possibly do what he said and work out 1 kilometer back. And that's like my curves. You're going on up, and you miss the road to the future because you can't see down. And organizations don't change until they can see Davy's Bar, until they actually can see disaster. And then they change. But then, as I said, it's too late. My advice then is actually, when you feel that you are going well as a person, or as an organization, or as a country, that's the time when you should start preparing to reinvent yourself, because that gives you some space and some money and some resources and some time. And if you don't do that, you'll end up in Davy's Bar, and you'll be saying, oh, if only I had changed the organization or changed myself some time ago, I would be better. So that's the story of the second curve.